All right, today we're going to go over how to spot a bad sales hire in 5 minutes. So, if you're a business owner or even a sales manager, right, this could be very valuable for you, right? And also, if you're a sales rep, listen to this, you'll know what not to do. So, I've conducted quite a few interviews, so I'm speaking from experience here. So, hiring the wrong salesperson can essentially be one of the most costly mistakes for your business because not only are you wasting a ton of time, but it's also derailing your growth as a company, but also the financial impact is massive, right? So, in this presentation, I'm going to go over the 5 critical red flags that can help you identify a potential bad sales hire in just like 5-10 minutes, saving you months of frustration and thousands of dollars in lost revenue and trading costs. So, whether you're currently building a team or you're planning to expand in the future, these insights will really help you out to separate the true sales killers, from those who just talk a good game. So let's get right into it. So the high cost of a bad sales hire. So like hiring the wrong person doesn't just cost you money. Like we said again, it can also become a resource drain across your organization because you need to take into account that once you hire someone, you also commit a ton of time helping them out when it comes to the recruiting side of things, training. You also there's also if they're not that good, right? It's a ton of lost opportunities as well, right? So there's a lot of things that come into play, and that's a mistake that you could also pay the price like in the long haul. So you could eventually realize maybe like 3-4 months on the road, it's like, oh wait a second, this was the wrong hire, right? And then now you also realize the opportunity cost in that process as well. So, because if you make the right hire, it could be absolute game changer to a sales team. So, like I said, direct costs, right? Salary, commission, benefits, all that. All these things, training expenses, all wasted on an underperforming hire. Time investment, right? Management time spent on training, coaching, and then eventually you need to replace them, right? So, like, it's not only just time that you're wasting; it's just energy. It's a ton of resources as well, a ton of opportunity costs as well, lost revenue from deals that would have been closed with a better salesperson, and also cultural impact, right? If let's say you have a team and there's a certain standard that's set in place, and that person is not at standard, it's actually going to slow down your team massively. So, red flag number one is actually the lack of accountability. So, this is not only just A-player salespeople, this is A-player people in general. Like, these are people who are, anyone that I know who's elite, takes full ownership of their results in their life, personal and business, right? So both success and failures. Right? So during interviews, there's a few things you could do, right? You could ask candidates about like deals they've lost and kind of listen carefully about the response. You can ask them little questions like what they think, like let's say their previous offer or previous company, like what do they think about them, like what happened. The way they talk about others and about the situation will tell you a lot about them. So those who blame external factors like lead quality, pricing, or marketing conditions are revealing essentially a fundamental lack of accountability. You want people who are high agency who also take full accountability. So elite sales professional, they analyze what they could have done differently and extract valuable lessons from every lost opportunity, right? So this ownership mindset is essential for continuous improvement and also long-term success because you can always keep getting better. And then even the thing is here, the reality is like even if you get at a certain level as a salesperson, there's always things you can do better, right? And someone who's fully accountable, like they'll realize that there's someone who want to get better and will ask for feedback, right? No matter the level they're at, right? So again, a few warning signs: leads were terrible, pricing was too high, management didn't support me, always blaming, pointing the finger. Here's the thing: even if you were in a situation where there was an external factor that did play a role, you want someone to take full accountability regardless. I'm telling you. So accountability indicators, right? It's like, okay, hey, listen, man, like honestly, I missed this one or two things in the discovery that if I did ask these two questions, maybe I could have gone a little deeper and this could have opened up this. Or I could have doubled down. I could have challenged that prospect a little bit more in this situation, right? I could have been more value early on. I failed to involve all decision makers, whatever that may be, right? Honesty, transparency, right, in an interview is really a big green flag in my books. Interview questions: tell me about your biggest sales failure. What would you do differently now? How did you adjust your approach? Another thing too, it's like, tell me about a deal you didn't think was going to close that you were able to close, and how did you go about that? Where do you think you've improved the most in the past 6 months, right? What are your career goals? Always figure out an idea of what they want out of their career, what do they want selfishly, right? And so that's going to just go a really long way in my opinion. So Flag number 2, no structure in their sales process, right? So professional, simple, they follow a clear, repeatable framework that guides prospect from initial contact to close deal, right? So when you interview candidates, ask them to walk you through their sales process step by step, right? A strong candidate will confidently outline you their entire methodology without hesitation. So they'll know where they're at in the call. They'll know what information they're looking for. And the thing is, it doesn't feel like they're selling either. That's the thing too. Really good salespeople, it's very conversational. They're usually pretty likable, and they can get people to open up very easily, and they can go deep and also ask the hard questions, right? So they again, great salespeople. They understand the psychology behind each step and can explain why also their process works, right? So intro, discovery, objection handling, pre-pitch, pitch, close. But again, they have an understanding, right? So that's the thing too. You want to make sure and test that out. An easy way to ask them again is asking them their approach. It's like, how would you conduct a sales call? How would you conduct your discovery, right? What information you're looking for, right? Little things like that. Red flag number 2. Okay, made a little bit of a Red flag number 3 is weak objection handling and low sales EQ, right? If you have low emotional intelligence in sales, it's like you're just not going to be that successful, in my opinion, because you need to be able to pick up on certain things that aren't really said directly a lot of the time. So how a candidate handles an objection reveals, in my opinion, their true sales capabilities. But not only that, it's like, in my opinion, like a really good discovery will tell you a lot about a salesperson. But ideally as well is like, how do they view objections, and what do they view as an actual objection, right? Because a lot of objections aren't actually real objections. It's like, that's the truth, in my opinion. It's like, so you want to know the difference between a real objection, right? Something that's actually holding that person back, and then it's like, are they just the thing? Are they holding themselves back due to, like, again, it can be fear, it could be a lack of certainty, it could be a bunch of different things, right? So a good salesperson too, it's like ideally they're gonna look into how to essentially pre-handle certain objections before they even come up as well, right? So during the interview, like I said, test the candidates with common objection. Like, you can ask them, this is too extensive, I need to think about it. But what I would actually do is I would ask them, it's like, how do you go about handling objections, right? Just in general. And then you can kind of see how they think about it, right? Because a good salesperson will be like, ideally, if I know my avatar well enough, I will try to bring certain things up beforehand, right? But then again, when it comes to actual objections, how would you handle it? And watch for defensive responses, excessive discounting, or awkward pauses, right? So if they're doing too much, like, they're the type of person, the salesperson, to fold immediately the moment there's a little bit of pressure, and that's a no bueno. Elite salespeople, they maintain composure and have ready frameworks for addressing concerns constructively, right? So poor responses, get defensive, right? Get a little emotional, immediately start offering discounts out of nowhere for no reason, argues with a prospect, or just gives up too easily, right? Like, I see this all the time where people just set up a follow-up call, when really it's like they could have locked down some type of deposit, and just kind of went a little bit deeper, or even closed the deal. Strong responses, stays calm, confident, ask clarifying questions, reframes value proposition, use social proof effectively, align solution with SID needs, ideally pre-handles things ahead of time. So red flag number 4, no competitive drive, right? So top performing salespeople, they inherently have really competitive, like really, like, they're super competitive. And so they don't track their numbers because manager requires. They do it because they're passionate about measuring and improving their performance. And so this is why also a lot of companies, they do want to hire like athletes, because they just know they're just kind of built different. And an athlete who's able to like bring that level of competitiveness and is sharp in a professional settings can steamroll a lot of people because of that, the level of competition, but also the drive to be better and be good and be great, actually, right? So during interviews, ask specific questions about past performance metrics. True A players can immediately tell you their close rate, average deal size, how they rank against their peers. Vague or hesitant responses suggest either a poor performance or a lack of competitive drive. And then again, you could ask them, what's their close rate unilateral, how much revenue do you generate, right? Again, if someone says I'm not sure, right, or they don't really know, they can't really provide you specific figures, it's a red flag in my books, in my opinion. Deflection or vague answers like I did pretty well. What does that mean, right? So again, figure out as well. Like, another thing too is, like, this is going to go up next, but try to figure out what their vision is. Because, like, if someone has a goal, vision, and, like, it's bigger than themselves, they usually are the type of people to go above and beyond. And, like, me personally, I'm a fan of building really lean, high-performing teams where people do go above and beyond. Where the people in that team can make $10, $15, $20,000 a month, right? So, like, again, no, like, the next up is red flag number 5. Is really no long-term vision. Great salespeople always view their career as stepping stone, not just paychecks. They have professional goals, can articulate how the opportunity fits into their long-term vision, and this ambition translates to higher commitment, stronger performance, and also reduced turnover. So, during interviews, you could ask candidates whether they see themselves within, like, next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. Right, listen for thoughtful responses that demonstrates their career planning and genuine interest in the growth opportunity within your organization. Right, so those focused solely on immediate compensation often lack the motivation to excel through challenging periods. Right, so let that sink in for a second. And again, these are all things you could kind of know to address and know what to look for quickly. And then again, this could be addressed within 5 minutes, within 15 minutes. But again, even if it takes you an hour to go over this within a candidate, now you know. In my opinion, one phone call and just a few lists of key questions, you can know quickly right away if someone's actually, like, if you pick up on a few red flags, even if they have all the experience in the world, listen to your intuition, listen to what you know. And in my opinion, one thing that's also valuable is have a checklist. Like, if let's say you have a checklist of things that are required for someone that you want to hire. On the checklist, do they fill out at least 8 out of 10 boxes? Or let's say you're settling for someone who's at least 6 out of 10 boxes. Depending on who you're looking to hire and how hard they're to find, in my opinion, if they're below a 6, it's an automatic disqualification, in my opinion, right? No second round interview whatsoever. Again, it depends. If you're really looking for an A player, you want someone who's an 8 out of 10 out the gates at least, right? And then again, now you're gonna, like, it's gonna bring your pool of candidates a lot slimmer, and then now you're gonna have people who you feel are already elite. So yeah, that's really it right now. Another thing too is, again, implement a better hiring process. So now you're armed with 5 red flags. You can now implement a more effective sales hiring process. So you can structure your interviews to specifically test for these warnings, right? One of the things too, this is what I always do, is I always get 3 things from candidates before I even get on the phone with them. A 1 to 2 minute Loom introduction video, right? Their CV/resume, and then some type of call recordings of their sales calls. Could be 1, could be 2, could be 3. Ideally, it's like 2 or 3. If it's a phone setter, same thing. If it's someone who's an SDR, same, like phone setter SDR, same thing, right? So yeah, it's pretty straightforward, right? So again, phone assessment. This is the flow of things you could go about it. Test communication skills and basic sales knowledge, right? Structured interview that validate for the 5 red flags discussed. Next up is role play exercise, right? I call it drilling as well, right? So observe actual sales skills in a simulated scenario. Team assessment, ensure a cultural fit with existing team members. And the next up is resume screening. So look for consistent performances and progression as well. So, like, now you should be, like, good to go. You should be substantially more well armed. So now you can actually go and crush it. And again, if you're looking to hire, like, really, really good salespeople, right, and you have a hard time finding them, in my opinion, it's worth hiring a recruiter. If you have a good, like, look through your network first, right? That's what I would do. Within your network, you could definitely find some good candidates, but if depending on how good the person you're looking for is, it is worthwhile to hire a good recruiter, in my opinion, right? So your next step is you want to build your 8-player sales team, right? So identifying red flags. It's just essentially the first step in building a high-performing sales team. Once you've eliminated the bad hires, you want to focus on creating systems that attract and develop and retain true A players who can drive sustainable growth for your business, right? So consider working, again, like I said earlier, with a specialized sales recruiter who understands your industry and can pre-screen candidates for these critical attributes. Implement regular training and coaching programs to develop your existing team and foster the accountability mindset that separates top performance, right? So again, a bad hire is super costly, right? So really be wise in how you go about finding great people, because once you find really one great candidate, one great hire can be absolute game changer for your business. Like, again, like right here, the ROI increase, typical performance improvement with an 8-player sales talent, 3 to 5x ROI increase. So the amount of revenue you can bring into your business by bringing in the right salesperson is massive. Um, on mine, I've placed well over 130 salespeople. So I've successfully. These are all successful hires for business in the range of like $1 to $10 million between education companies and agencies. So if you're one of those and you need help directly, you can reach out to me directly. So whether it's through email or whether it's through Instagram directly. So I'm pretty selective of who I work with as well. So, but if you do need help and are looking for really, really solid candidates, solid salespeople, I can definitely help you out. And so the way I go about things too is you don't pay till placement. So, and then I also have like a guarantee on that end as well. So yeah, that's about it on my end. And so if you're watching this, I really hope you found some value in this as well. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and that'll be it from me.